Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Software Spotlight. This week I chatted with Kayleigh Graham about Capitalise.
Kayleigh, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Yeah, how long have you been in the fintech space?
So I actually started off in banking, quite traditional banking actually, in the commercial space and then in the corporate space, looking after councils, which is about as fun as it sounds. So I made the switch into fintech back in 2017, originally with an alternative lender that was very much trying to kind of shake up that space with the tech that they were bringing in. So that was kind of me dipping my toes in there, and then moved across to Capitalise about a year after that. So been working kind of all together for about 4 years now with fintechs and about 3 years with accountants.
Brilliant. I was just wondering if you could give us a little bit of a background on Capitalise.
Yeah, absolutely. So Capitalise launched back in 2016, and we now work with over 3,000 advisors up and down the country, essentially to provide the UK SMEs with access to the capital that they need to succeed, which sounds a little bit cheesy, but it is very much what we do. And actually back in August, so kind of just after just 5 years since we launched, we actually surpassed over £1 billion worth of approved offers
Oh,
for
wow.
UK business.
That's
Yeah, pretty
brilliant.
big number for us.
Yeah. What personally drew you to Capitalise? Was there anything that sort of grabbed you and was like, I need to work for this company?
Definitely, I think coming from a banking background, everything moves very slowly, right? You can have the best ideas in the world, but it's got to go through about 300 people before you get a decision, and then it's like a 5-year delivery roadmap, right? And so I was very keen to work in a space where we could adapt and we could pivot and we could be flexible, and do all of those things, and really act on the feedback that not only our kind of staff were giving us, but also that our clients were giving us, right? And deliver on that as soon as possible. So when I caught wind of Capitalise, I had a chat with Paul, who is our CEO, and actually I hadn't worked with accountants before, so it was definitely a personal challenge for me stepping into that space. But also, when I spoke with Paul has such a passion and a clear vision for the business that it's hard not to kind of leave that conversation feeling inspired and like you want to jump on the green rocket ship, as it were. So yeah, Paul personally had a big influence in that, but I think the business as a whole has such clear direction and such clear kind of values and beliefs.
Brilliant. So what would you say describes your ideal client?
I think we like to say we'd love to work with every accounting firm in the UK, right? We'd love to do that and be out there. But I think in terms of like an ideal sweet spot, it's definitely those firms that truly want to be proactive, and not just proactive in the sense that we do a bit of cash flow forecasting, but genuinely want to be part of the growth of the businesses that they look after. So in the UK, business average life cycle is about 8.5 years. So really, we want to work with firms that want to be there through that whole journey, right? They want to be part of that business, setting up kind of core systems. They then want to go on and help them to understand what their business plans are and what their goals are, and then hold them accountable to that, right? But then also to support them from the angle of making sure they've got the funding that they need, that they understand that actually debt in a consumer sense can be quite scary and a bad thing, but actually in a kind of commercial sense, debt's very much a force for good. And how do we leverage that to expedite the growth and make sure that at the end of that 8.5 years potentially, actually the business is in the best shape that it can be, and that the owners of that business can have the best exit possible. So I think it's really about those people that they're accountants and they're dealing with clients not because they necessarily want to crunch numbers all day, but because they really want to act as an advisor to the businesses they serve.
Perfect. And would you say that you have a favorite feature in Capitalise?
100%. We built a tool called Monitor. And Monitor is a tool that is centered around data and proactivity. So essentially what it does is it takes publicly available data from the likes of Companies House and kind of Credit Safe, and soon to be Experian as well. But actually what it then does is translates that into actionable insights for accountants to go out and talk to their clients about. So it splits those into opportunities and risks, and opportunities might be something like the business has the opportunity to improve their credit score, which will help them to get access to better rates for lending. And a risk might be actually the business is continually using their overdraft, and this is potentially a concern. Do we need to have a conversation about that and how we turn that out and make it more manageable, or whatever that might be? And so I think on its own, it can kind of sound a little bit like, okay, it's a process and you need to walk through it. But actually the bigger picture of that is that actually what it allows accounting firms to do is deliver valuable advisory to all of their client base. And I think that's really what excites me about it, because actually I think lots of firms do very great advisory for a handful of clients, right, that they're particularly close to, that they know well, that they understand the business. But what Monitor allows us to do is take all of that data and allow them to then deliver it to everyone consistently, right? So that every business they serve is getting access to that same quality of information and same quality of support.
Brilliant. What would you say separates Capitalise from the competition?
Our people and our passion, I would say. I think our people, we've got a real mix of kind of the very technical people right through to those that have come from banking backgrounds. We've got a large kind of population of graduates that have joined us with kind of fresh ideas, and they've come from kind of degrees of all sorts, not just from tech and finance or anything like that. We've got, I think, geography grads and literature grads and all sorts, right? And they all come with kind of fresh eyes that mean we're constantly refining what we do. But I think our people care as well, right? When we've got partnership managers like myself, we've got portfolios of firms, and whilst we work as a collective to ensure their success, there is definitely this feeling of like ownership and like, I really want to make this a success for them. And I think that shows in the kind of internal conversations that we have around driving product forward and working together there, and making sure that marketing are kind of getting involved in helping firms to align their kind of branding, etc. And I think that ownership and that genuine care that our people have definitely separates us. And I think the passion, and I mentioned earlier that kind of Paul and Ollie, our other co-founder, they've got such a passion and belief in what we do that it's just very clear why we're doing it, right? And that message stays strong in everything that we do, in our brand messaging, in understanding our values as a business, in the internal work that we do, in the way that we speak to customers. All that, it runs completely through the business because it's a genuine passion.
Yeah, I mean, a culture like that is incredibly important, and it will show through your product.
Absolutely. We've got, I think we're officially in the world-class NPS section. I like to think that's reflective of exactly that.
That's pretty cool. So do you have any new features or updates on the way? Is there anything coming up?
Definitely. So we have a partnership with Experian now. And so I mentioned that in terms of Monitor at the moment, that's pulling data from CreditSafe and things like that. But actually the partnership that we have with Experian is going to really allow us to deepen the kind of level of information that we have sitting in Monitor and the reports available for firms. And I think that is going to be really exciting, because credit scoring in the UK for businesses is a very difficult place to navigate, right? I think everyone, from a personal perspective, if you say what's your credit score, people probably wouldn't want to tell you, but they probably know what it is, right? That's really tricky, because most of the data and the information is held behind paywalls. And so if a business wanted to know what their credit score is with the 5 major bureaus in the UK, they would need to go out and sign up with the 5 major bureaus in the UK and pay each of them a fee to understand that. Part of what Capitalise is doing with our partnership with Experian and kind of Monitor is really around unearthing that and giving businesses the ability to see that all in one place, but also to understand what goes on behind those numbers. So it's not just, hey, here's your credit score, but it's actually, here's the factors affecting it, here's why it is what it is, here's how we can improve it, and start to kind of unmask that. Because if businesses can make sure that their credit score is reflective of them as a business and that it's doing everything they need to do, it makes getting access to funding and things like that so much easier, right? If you take, on a slightly technical example, if you take a £250,000 loan over 5 years and you've got a great credit score and you secure that at a great rate of, say, I don't know, 4% roughly, you might pay over that term, I think it works out about £26,000 worth of interest. Take that exact same loan over a 5-year period, but actually with a credit score, with a worse credit score, and so a rate, say, of 14.9, the interest that you'll pay over the term is about £106,000. So it's like £80,000 worth of difference in interest purely based on your credit score. And so there's this huge piece of education for SMEs, but also of enabling them to actually own that and to fix it and to make it better.
So if someone watching is thinking, right, that sounds like a bit of me, I want on the Capitalise ship, what would they do next? What would be their next call of action?
No, reach out to myself, reach out to anyone in the team. And the way that we tend to do that is we've got a whole team that can show you the ins and outs of it. They can show you monitor, they can talk to you a little bit more about the in-depth product things. And then we look to basically build every firm their own kind of bespoke plan of how we roll that out and how we do it so the firms can do it at their own pace. We're in December, it's busy time, we're about to move into tax season. So it's really about making this work for the firm and for their clients. And so we like to really understand what's going on with them and then, as I say, get people started at their own pace.
Perfect. Well, Kayleigh, it's been brilliant chatting. Thank you for coming on. It's been great to learn a little bit more about Capitalise.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
That's all right. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.